name is Corinna, and for my second Fall Friday soup of the month, I would like to share with you a soup that we have come to really make a lot over the years. And this one is chicken and dumpling soup by Sandra Lee, semi-homemade. This soup has poultry seasoning in it, so I thought this would be absolutely perfect for leftover turkey, if you have leftover turkey, for Thanksgiving weekend. Or you can make it with chicken like we do. It actually calls for rotisserie chicken, but I'm just gonna use chicken breasts and cut up the chicken breasts and cook it that way. But if you want to use turkey or rotisserie chicken, you can definitely do that. If you want to see how this soup is made, come along. Okay, first thing first, you gotta cook your chicken if you're not using rotisserie. For seasonings, I used pepper, fresh pepper. I used Lawry's seasoned salt, and I used Paula Deen's house seasoning. So that's the seasonings that I used on my chicken. I'm gonna go ahead and cook this up, and then we will get to the next step. These are the ingredients that you will be using for this soup. It calls for celery sticks and carrot sticks, but I am actually just going to chop celery up, and the little baby carrots in the front, I'm going to chop those up too. It also calls for 6 cans of low sodium chicken broth. I am not going to do that. I am actually going to make my own with chicken flavored bouillon. You need a big pot. That's why I have my stock pot in the back, because it calls for 1 tube of the Grand's biscuits for the dumplings, but we love the dumplings so much that we do 2 tubes of the Grand's biscuits for dumplings, and they really puff up in the pot, so I want to use a big pot and be ready for them to puff up. It calls for a classic chicken gravy. Actually, I get the classic chicken in a jar. It says to do the gravy in a can, but I like the flavor of the jar over the can. You need some onion, and then for seasonings is salt, pepper, and then poultry seasoning. Okay, I took 10 cups of water and then 10 teaspoons of the bouillon. I put it in the pan with some salt and pepper. I'm going to start heating that up. I'm going to add the chicken to it and let the chicken get into that broth. That's basically what we're doing. If you're not using the chicken broth, you can very easily make your own chicken broth, however you want to do it. This soup is pretty much versatile too, and you can make it however you want. Like I said, you can also do turkey from leftover from Thanksgiving too, if you want to. I have my burner set to high, trying to get that to come up to a simmer. If you want to, if you don't want to use the bouillon granules, you can also use the Weiler's. This is a chicken with herbs and spices bouillon. This is really good too. I've done that before too. Okay, now I'm going to add the chopped vegetables, which is the onion, carrots, and celery. I actually chopped the celery bigger, like in chunks actually. So this soup is just so awesome that you can make it towards whatever your family likes. I think I just love that you can do that with soup. Okay, and then I'm still waiting for it to come up to a simmer. It's smelling good already. Okay, you are going to add 2 teaspoons of poultry seasoning to this. Once this comes up to a simmer, it's going to simmer for 30 minutes, and then that's when you prepare the dumplings. Okay, now comes the dreaded popping of the biscuits. right? I'm gonna hold it away. Not popping, okay? Do they seriously make those to torture women making soup? I jump or just like, woo, every time. Do you do that? Okay, so my soup is simmering for 30 minutes. Now let's get the dumplings ready. Okay, I use a pizza cutter to cut the dumplings, but first you're gonna need a little bit of flour, just a dusting, on a cutting board. Take the biscuit. I put a little bit of flour on my rolling pin too, just so it doesn't stick to it. The flour is what's going to thicken your soup that's on the biscuits, so don't worry about because the soup does thicken a little bit. Plus the gravy helps too. Okay, now they say to, and you can totally do this, but they say to cut it in strips. I don't cut mine in strips, I actually cut it in fourths. But if you want to, do it however you want to do it. But that's what I do. And I pile them up because you're going to have quite a few. Like I said, we use 2 cans of these. It calls for 1, so, you know, do whatever suits your family. And while your soup is simmering for 30 minutes, you just continue to do this and stack the dumplings up in a little pile, and you do not have to be precise. It turns out the same every time we've had it, no matter what I do. If I do different, you know, rotisserie chicken or whatever. You just want to make sure that you do not get the layered biscuits. I think those would fall apart in the soup. So I get the home style ones. I'm going to continue to get these rolled out and cut, and I will show you just before I add them. I just want to give you a little side note. If you want to put a little flour, you know, on your face, because you've been working so hard in the kitchen on this soup and making these dumplings all day, you know, you might want to just have a little proof of how hard that you've worked and just kind of put a little flour on your face. Just a side note. Okay, the soup has been bubbling away for 30 minutes. Oh man, this smells fantastic. Oh my goodness. I'm telling you, once you hit it with that poultry seasoning, oh man. Okay, at this point, if you have any scum, it says on the top of it, probably from the rotisserie chicken, you can scrape that off the top of it. But then you're going to add the gravy. I use a jar of it. It calls for a can, but I like the flavor of the jar over the can, so. Okay, very carefully so you do not burn yourself. You dump the gravy into the soup. Okay, I'm going to bring that back up to a simmer. Turn up my heat. Stir that in. You're going to be kind of thickening up your soup just a little bit. It doesn't get, I mean, you still have a good broth. And then the flour from the dumplings, like I had said earlier, that helps thicken it just a little bit. Alright, it is just starting to come to a little bit of a simmer here. I'm going to be dropping the dumplings in here in just a minute. I actually put my dumplings in a little bowl. So, okay, I'm taking it. I try not to have them stick together too much, so I just drop them in. Be careful, you do not splash yourself and burn yourself. This is very, very warm. See how they come to a flow? Yeah, these little babies will fill up this pan because I used 2 cans of it, but I'm telling you, the dumplings are like, oh my goodness, so yummy. And then they take on the flavor of the soup. Oh. All right, once you add all the dumplings that you want to your soup, you are going to cover it tightly with a lid, and you are going to let it simmer for 10 more minutes, and then it is done. Okay, the timer went off. I got to show you. Look at the dumplings by the cover, but look at the soup. Oh my goodness. Let me get the spoon in there. Underneath them dumplings. You just break them up a little bit. They're fine. You want to make your own homemade dumplings with this? That's another thing you could do, honestly. Oh man. I wish you could smell this. It is amazing. Wow. Yum. Can you see the broth? Kind of, mostly dumplings. Let me show you in a bowl. Okay, and that's all there is to it. Not much, seriously. And like I said, you can definitely use your turkey, leftover turkey from Thanksgiving, because it would fit in this soup just as good as chicken would. So I hope you enjoy this recipe. I am enjoying doing this series of Fall Friday soups. You cannot go wrong with soup. That's how I feel. It is just a staple in our home, and we have found many favorites of soups in this house. Thank you for watching and coming along. Oh, the recipe will be down below as usual. I'll talk to you later. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye.